All right, we are back.
Hello again, Namo Mirabutsu
Double muted.
for the next session. Good cliffhangers. I
Yes.
like I like the cliffhangers. I'm liking doing cliffhangers at the end of
Yeah, yeah,
our
for sure.
sessions. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So yeah, we're continuing with the last paragraph, the preface of Kyogyoshinsho. So bear with me a sec.
Or the sojo, as it's called in
This,
Japanese,
this
general preface.
so the Sojo general preface. Cool. Bear with me a sec. Let me share my screen again. Is that the one? No, that's a different. That's there. There it is. There we go. All right. There it is again. Can you see it?
And
Okay.
we were, yes, I
Good.
can see it. I think we were just discussing this,
You're about to say,
rare
oh
is it
yeah,
to
what I
come
said.
upon.
No, I said reverently
Yeah.
entrusting myself to the teaching, practice, and realization
Oh, right, right. And I was
that
going to
yeah,
say,
and it's almost like because
yeah,
I was saying I didn't have to make the leap. You don't have to make the leap to
right.
like entrusting everything. You just fully entrust. Just fully entrust. You're a spiritual idiot, so just fully entrust. Just what look at your life.
Mm,
Look what have you accomplished on your just entrust. No, it's not. Do you see what I mean?
no.
Just entrust. You have to fully
And
entrust, holding nothing back. No, there's look reverently entrusting myself to the teaching practice and realization. Do you
mm,
see what I mean? Now that's something I
yeah,
can
yeah,
I've got trust issues as it is,
right.
be the
Exactly.
way my life's gone, and
Yeah,
living as a
yeah.
bamboo in samsaric existence in this particular time,
Hmm.
in this particular,
Yeah,
uh provisional existence. And so kind of
yeah,
just leave, just try and trust yourself fully to Amita's vow.
yeah.
Just entrust. I can't even. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't even.
Hmm.
I can't
Right.
even conceive
Yeah.
of that actually. You know,
And the
but this I
true and
can.
real Shinjin, yeah, is not something that you and I can do anyway. So
Exactly.
that's the whole point. Is we
Exactly.
and so and Ray, Ray said something similar to me because he thinks that there's some of the talk or some of the conversations we have around the topic of Shinjin and so on is not really helpful, you know, and I agree with him.
hmm hmm
Um, but uh,
It's kind of
but he
like
said to me,
if you talk about the natural working of the
yeah,
vow too much,
yeah,
it could become a
yeah,
problem. Like
right,
is it Shinron that says that at some point that
yeah, yeah. He
yeah
says, yeah, exactly.
yeah
If we discuss no working, then no working becomes a problem of
yeah
working. So we shouldn't. Once we have the
yeah
realization, we shouldn't continue to hammer it into the ground, you know.
yeah. Anyway,
Um,
so go ahead. Yeah.
but what Ray said was, you entrust yourself to the path, you know, you entrust yourself to this teaching, practice, and realization. Um, and you know, you don't necessarily have 100% knowledge that everything is going to happen the way you know what I mean, right?
Yep. Yep.
But but first you have a sort of I think it's safe to say, at least for me, that you entrust yourself to the teaching and the path because you find it reliable and trustworthy, and you find Shinron trustworthy. I mean, like we just said, he's not selling us a bill of goods. He's expressing, he's telling it, he's keeping it real, you know? If I'm going to use my West Coast, say it in the West Coast way.
Nice.
Shinron is keeping it real.
Been
And
real, bro.
that, that reality we can entrust to, we can that reality is the teaching, practice, and realization, right? So I think there's an interesting distinction there, between the whole, the sort of leap of faith position of, or the, you know, this sort of like a fideistic interpretation
Mm,
of Buddhism, where like we're sort of maximally capable of pure belief, kind of. We just got to do it.
yeah, yeah,
Which is takes a very uh, that's a very optimistic view of the bamboo brain. I'm gonna say.
exactly.
Um, uh, it all depends on us, kind of basically. Like the teaching you've heard, the teaching is there. Amita's already done his end of the bargain. Now it all depends on you. Are you going to believe it or not?
Yeah,
Well, you know, um,
I can't.
that to me is not a productive way of framing the problem, right? So again, it's interesting that this would pop out to you because I agree with it, and
Mm,
I also think that's what Ray was saying is entrusting to the path and the working and kind of
exactly.
with a how to put it, with a confidence per se that the path will get you there. The path
Yes.
will take you
Trust the path.
where you need to go, and
Trust
you
the
don't
path.
even need to have like a visualization of where that is. You just need to know that you're going to get there, right? You just need to, and so you entrust to the actual teaching itself, you know.
I've heard the
So that is, I think,
go ahead, sorry.
you know,
Sorry. Continue,
well, the
finish
way
finish
this would be expressed in a tradition, well, not traditional, but in a
I was gonna
self
make reference
power.
to the yeah,
Mm,
to the map analogy that's
yeah,
given by
well,
teachings. That's what I was going to raise. They say, there's certain
right.
aspects of the teaching that there's no way kind of for us to verify, except either by experience or when we're
Hmm.
Buddhists. Um,
Yeah,
but you can look at the part, so that's off the map.
yeah,
When you have a map, right? It's only of a
right.
certain range of
Area.
things. Yeah,
Yeah,
certain area. And that part of it, you can go and drive and you can verify. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got there.
this is here.
Okay. But then you've got places off the map that you can't really
Yeah,
verify if you don't have a bigger
right.
map or a different
Like
map.
the Pier Land,
Yeah,
for example.
exactly.
The
But
Pier Land is
so it's how
ultimately
much,
off the map
yeah,
for us, right?
yeah.
We
But
can't,
do you trust that there's a map, do you trust the map makers for that path up to that point? Do you trust,
yeah.
to the point where it goes off the map? Do you trust can you trust the map makers?
Mm,
You see what I mean? And can you
hmm.
verify the truth yourself up to
Yeah,
that point? And then that's where the trust kind of comes, or the trust or the
right.
confidence that in what's off the map, you
Hmm.
can kind of say that, do you see what I mean? If there's enough confidence in the map
Yeah,
that you see,
yeah,
then something along that
yeah,
line. I've heard that in
yeah.
kind of self-power
Hmm.
paths in schools,
Yeah,
that
and I
kind of.
think it's a good analogy. I think in the Shodomon, or the Path of Sages, the way this teaching, practice, and realization is explained is the Shakyamuni taught the teaching, right? So you have the teaching. Then the teaching has to be understood and practiced by us. So you put the teaching into practice. And then through that, through that practice, you realize the fruit of enlightenment. You have the realization. But what's interesting is that's not what Shinron is saying here. He's saying is entrusting to the teaching, the practice, and the realization.
All
That's
three.
a very different.
Yeah,
That's
at
a
once.
completely different, way of putting it, so to speak. So that also kind of stood out to me. And then the other thing, of course, is he's actually um, echoing the, rare is it to encounter human life, and now we've been born as a human being. Um, Rare, difficult it is to hear the Dharma, but now we have heard it. It's actually the exact same. He's using the exact same words, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly. So it's reinforcing the hope that we've seen actually through, earlier
Yeah,
in the,
yeah,
or you kind of can get earlier if it wasn't
hmm
outright said. You start to see it. You kind of start to see it in the earlier paragraphs. You just say, well, yeah, I have encountered it.
yeah.
So I'm here now. I'm reading
Well,
this. So
and what does he say at the very end? Here I rejoice
voice.
in what I have heard and extol what I have attained. So there, it ends in a note. It is, you could say it begins and ends in a joy, rejoicing, happiness.
It ends like the sutras.
Mm. Yeah.
After they've
Oh,
heard,
exactly. Good
they
point. Good point.
rejoice.
Yep. Rejoice. That's exactly how
What I've
every
heard.
sutra ends, right?
Yeah. And they rejoiced. Yeah. At what they had heard. And then went on to extol it to others.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I think that's I mean, the main thing is there's kind of evidence here for you, you know,
Mm.
to look at. This kind of comes back
Yeah.
to how to trusting. You
Yeah.
trust something when you see some evidence, and that's you were kind of talking about that with did you say it was Shingon, that once you experience something, then you okay, now
Mm.
I
hmm
feel confidence, that more confidence, so I'll go on. Is that kind of what you
Right.
were saying? They do that in the
Yeah.
Nichiren schools as well. That the whole idea is, at first you put some trust that you do the practices, you do ganyo, and you do, you know, and
Mm.
you do it's a
Right.
damoku, and and then
Yeah.
and you study, and that,
Right.
and then and do the five things that it says to do. You start doing some of them.
Mm.
You start, you don't try to do everything at once. You just start with some of it,
Yeah.
and then, oh, you get some results from that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just saying the domoku and I'm getting results. So, okay,
Right.
all right, I'll learn Ganyo, and okay, oh, and I'm starting to get, do you see what I mean? Like that's the way
hmm
you feel some, you feel, you get more,
Yeah.
as you get the evidence of them operating
Right.
in your life, and you get the results, then that gives you more confidence to go on and to incorporate more, to immerse, to go more into it and do more of what is the Lotus Sutra is instructing, and do you know what I mean, etc. And so here, I guess not an equivalent, but a similar thing going on here is that when you look at all these things, you can look at that, um where does it come upon the sacred scriptures, but yet I
Mm.
have, do you see what I
hmm
mean?
Yeah.
So okay, that gives me more confidence. Okay, okay, whew,
Yeah.
okay, there was all these difficulties about it, but
But here
I
we
haven't
are.
experienced those difficulties, but
Right.
that's rare, but
Yeah.
I'm seeing it, so great. Okay, I'm experiencing something that's rare, and I'm certainly, I've certainly encountered the scriptures
Right.
for most of my adult life.
And if you think
Where,
about it, I mean, when we
um,
recite the
and the more
song
the
Hiei,
internet, the more the internet um, became in my lifetime, became more and more of a, more developed and more parts of
yeah,
things, the more access I had, the more
yeah,
access
yeah,
we
no
had.
kidding. We have an
And I had the
abundance,
inclination already to, I was going to the library. I was my own Google, I was my
yeah,
own Lycos, I was my own, I'd go to the library and you know what I mean? Or I'd go to a bookstore, or,
oh
and
yeah,
buy the book. But then, the internet came along, and suddenly we had the, access of the library of the Chakravartin, at our fingertips, literally,
exactly,
and,
yeah,
could, so,
yeah,
and I had the inclination. So it's not just that it's available,
Mm,
I had the desire to
right. Yep.
to find them and to, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it just
Yep.
grew and grew, the access to it and the encountering of all these scriptures more and more. So that it's
Mm.
just, there's some confidence there. So anyway, what were we going to say? Just that one point, what were you going to say about?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I think, if you think about like when we recite the Sankiye, the three refuges text, it's basically, first of all, acknowledging the the rare and precious, human life that we receive. And second, how rare it is to encounter the Dharma, just in that, not just to be born a human being, but to encounter uh, the teaching of Shakyamuni, and then having acknowledged that and expressed our gratitude, therefore, we then go on to say, if uh, we do not achieve awakening in this life, in what life will it be attained, right? Which is, of course, very, somewhat of a Mahayana point of view, because, in Mahayana, we have teachings of sudden attainment, right?
If not us,
So,
who? If
yes,
not now,
if not
when?
now, when? Quote,
So
Rabbi Hillel. Um, and so in that sense, there's an urgency that draws us deeper into, the Dharma, but it's not a haphazard, you know, without thinking. We don't just rush blindly in. It's more about, let's learn more, let's go deeper. And then in the Sankhya, of course, it's, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha, right? So that's the basis. That's the foundation,
exactly.
And the foundation in Buddhism is not belief, uh, or it's refuge. It's taking refuge. It's realizing, you know, I don't have it all together, and there's the Buddha who does, and so I'm going to take refuge in that.
Yeah. And it's reliance. Refuge, it's
Right?
reliance.
Which, of course, is related, of course, to faith and to Shinji and so on, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Um, yeah, and just saying, and it's reliance. So if and if you're relying on someone or something, you've decided or you've experienced that they're reliable in some way.
right, yeah, yep,
You have the inclination or the confidence or the evidence
yeah,
that they're reliable
yep.
in some way.
And it's interesting because the character for Shin, or faith in Chinese, is um, the radical for person, and then the um, character for word. So if you think of it as, people used to say a man of his word, meant someone was reliable or you could trust them.
Yes.
You could trust someone if someone said, well, he's a man of his word. That meant you could trust that person to do and to be, you know, what they said was reflective of who they were, right? And so this is exactly what it means, is you can trust someone because they're trustworthy. It's their trustworthiness that enables you to rely on it. Otherwise,
Exactly.
trusting in
Yeah.
someone who isn't trustworthy is just
Yeah.
stupid, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Or you have nothing to base anything on.
Yeah,
But and it's just a natural thing. So if you think about the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha,
yeah,
and if you've spent any time connected to them,
mm,
it's like a natural thing you're going to see. Like how
yeah,
many times I tell you, in anything else I would explore, whether
yeah,
philosophy, science, other spiritual pathways, just life, experience, life itself, or things you hear,
mm,
things you see, things you how many times have I said, I would say over my lifetime, oh, that's what Buddhism says. Yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
oh, okay. That's what,
Aha.
yeah, yeah. And I would always come back. That's why I'd always come back to Buddhism.
Yeah.
Um, that's what the Buddha taught. That's what the Dharma, teaches. That's what this, and the Sangha supports all this.
Yeah.
So, it keeps raising your trust with every.
Mhm.
That was a gradual process, though, for me anyway.
Yeah.
But in this,
Rely on the Dharma, not on the teachers of the Dharma. That's my
yep.
that's been my theme for the last 10 years.
So yeah, the confidence comes from the, it's a natural. I think confidence and trust and confidence and trust and conviction naturally
Yeah.
arise as you encounter the Buddha, the Dharma, and the
Yeah.
Sangha. Do
And I
you
think
see what I
too,
mean?
on the Sangha part of that, the
Yeah,
triple
yeah,
gym,
yeah.
um, you know, I have been fortunate to live in Japan and to meet
Mm,
several people, many people,
mm.
in various temples, various, groups, Shinshu, groups and so on. And these people aren't the thing that you will realize if you actually meet people who are really, devoted to this path is they aren't posers. they
No,
they are not
they're not doing
fake.
not
They're
doing
not faking it.
cosplay. They're not doing
They're not
cosplay.
faking it. They're not doing cosplay.
No.
They are some of the most seriously sincere and authentic people I've ever met in my life. I mean, we're talking like sometimes it's just like, wow, you know,
Yeah.
these people are so real. I mean, way realer than me, you know, and that is, and I don't want to like, I'm not romanticized. I'm not trying to like, because it's Japan, people are this way. No, no, no. It's about the seriousness with which people pursue the Dharma there
Mm,
in that
mm.
in the culture, because part of it is culture,
Yeah. Sure.
is
Sure.
just really amazing in some cases. So yeah, you see that and then you think, wow, these people aren't posing. They're not, you know, they're not fake. So this has got to be something real that they're this devoted, this dedicated to, this serious about, this, you know, um, that they've made this kind of this reliance in their life. And so you do sort of think, wow, that's pretty amazing. And in that sense, I think we can say, you can sort of take refuge in the Sangha as the expression of the Buddha's teaching here and now. It's actually, you know, changing people and making people into something different. That's the power of the Dharma at work, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
However, in the West, if you're in Europe or wherever, you might have very different experience. I
It's
don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think we
saying
can
it's
safely
all.
say we have.
Yes, I think
I
yeah,
think I speak for those of us in the West that we have
yeah.
um,
But
experienced
it's not like
something different. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not like it's all um, you know, a bed of roses in Japan either. There are definitely people who are, you know, uh, in it for the wrong reasons. Is that what they say? So yeah,
But still, somehow, I always find that amazing. Still, somehow, the Dharma still
yeah.
comes through.
After
It,
how many? It's been like
the
what 800 years. This year we celebrated the 800th. I think it's the 800th anniversary of the foundation of Jodo
Yes,
Shinshu, and the 850th anniversary of Shinran Shoni. And so that's like over 8 centuries. This teaching has not only survived but thrived, and is still, you know, uh, uh, impacting people, reaching people today. So I think, including, notably you and me. So I think that, just to think about that, that itself is trusting the path. That itself is relying on the teaching, the practice, and the realization. When you look at that and think, wow, there's a legacy and a tradition here that we can rely on. You know, that's all
Definitely.
part of it for me.
Yeah, definitely. And then also, just your own experience is so important, that
Yes. Yeah.
when to
Yeah.
begin to see things that you hadn't seen before, like
Mhm.
when the discovery I made, you know, that I discussed in
Mm.
our last um, session about that brief encounter, the power of that
Yeah.
brief reading that
Yeah.
article for one day and the impact that had
Yeah.
unbeknownst to me on my life,
Yeah.
and now I can look
Yeah.
back to that and go, okay, there's some more evidence
Mm.
of the power, of Amina's vow, the power of the path, the power of the,
Mm.
and or when I look at, we talked about how and how suddenly I was able to get start to be able to get refuge at that point, or
Mm.
get reliance, get true, almost relying on the program and relying on the Buddha Dharma Sangha in a more you know other power way. I wouldn't have used those words
Yeah.
at the time, but more of a surrender
Hmm.
and a, okay, here's my situation, this, I need to rely on something greater than myself, kind of thing. How I was suddenly, but
Hmm.
after, it wasn't until after that I really got that. I was in that program for like 2 years, and had been studying Buddhism, since
Yeah.
probably my last year of high school up to that point.
Yeah.
So that was several years, and trying to practice it and things in
Uh-huh.
different ways, and you know just one article about Pure Land Buddhism,
Yeah.
Shin Buddhism, boom, and
Completely
it just
changed your.
altered my, yeah, without me even knowing that that had happened
Uh,
until later on. And the same, and similar thing related to that was how I realized it was until I started really getting a bit more serious about when I started getting more serious about and immersing myself more in the Jodo Shinshu path on a consistent basis, that I was
mm.
suddenly able to naturally, and I saw where I had turned away from certain things, is that turning of the heart mind. I saw
Mm.
that in my own life, the turning, when it talks about, you know, that you naturally, after hearing the teaching,
Yeah.
hearing the Dharma, and, hearing the call, you naturally start to turn away from evil. You start to turn away from, you naturally do. It's not like, do you
Mm.
see what I mean? And so
Hmm.
I sort of used the example of how I suddenly was able to have more
Yeah.
discipline and ability to, with my eating
Yeah.
behaviors and health. And do you see, after,
Yeah.
and I hadn't seen that at the time, but I look back and I see the correspondence of
Yeah.
that, and I didn't discover that till, when do we have that we had a Dharma chat about that about a year and a half
Uh-huh.
ago or something, or
Yeah.
that when we were talking about uh, that that reading, and yeah,
Yeah.
realizing that. So it's those kinds of experiences
Realizations.
and realizations, you know, that you can, you start to trust more.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start to see it, you know, for yourself, and that increases your ability
Yes.
to trust.
Absolutely. That's exactly it.
But it's a natural
All right.
process. It's not something I have to try to
No, no, no. You
do
don't
and
have
look
to like.
for. It just, those things, you just realize them as you go along. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we are. Yeah.
It's a I always go back to the analogy of seeing a beautiful sunrise, and going, wow. It's you don't have to you you don't have to you know consciously think, oh, this is a beautiful sunrise, I need to be impressed, and I should say wow. You just see it and say wow, because it's working on you, it's
Exactly.
coming to you. It's
Yes.
not you, you know what I mean?
Let there
That's what
be.
realization is.
Let there be no wavering or apprehension. Let there be. Did
Oh.
you ever find the Japanese on that, by the way?
Yeah, but the Japanese, it's old Japanese. It's like,
Ah, okay.
you know, uh, I can understand the medieval, not medieval, but
Yeah.
older Japanese, classical Japanese that Shinron writes in for the most part. But when it comes to a nuance like this, I don't really have much to add
Yeah.
beyond the English
Okay.
translation. There might be some nuance that we could get out of it, but you'd have to
Yeah.
ask an expert.
Okay. A scholar of of that
I'm
kind
guessing the sense
of
is more or
Japanese
less.
linguistics. We need.
What One thing you could do
Yeah.
is you could compare this translation with Inagaki Sensei's translation, the BDK, Bukyo Dendo
Okay.
Kyokai
Let's see
translation,
if.
because that sometimes he will choose a different
Mm,
um, choice for
yeah.
the translate the English. So
Okay.
you could
Cool.
kind of compare and see if there's a difference.
Cool. Yeah. So that, but I wanted to come back to, so with these realizations we have,
Yeah.
you know, reverently entrusting myself to the teaching, the practice, and realization that are the true essence of the Pure Land Way. Like,
Mm.
it brought when we were saying, these things you realize as you
Yeah.
go along the
Yeah.
path. That's,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't think it's just
Right.
talking about it,
Yeah.
about
And it's all
Amida's
part of
realization or the Buddha mind realization. It's talking about what you realize as you're on the path.
right, which is actually other power realizing you.
Yes.
The
Yes.
working of the Dharma
It's
on
coming from the
you,
other end. Yeah. Yeah.
creating this awakening, which is the process of awakening that is what Shinjin is, right? So
It's sort of the good from the past doesn't stop. Amita's good from the past. It's now the good.
yeah.
Amita's good of the present, arranging
Hmm.
things and guiding
Yep.
things, kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow. Well,
Boom.
Scott, I have to
Okay.
probably get going here pretty
Yes.
soon, but it has been a great conversation. I think,
Yes.
can we maybe wrap up this one, and then maybe next time we can talk about the question you had about
First chapter. Yeah.
why does
Yeah.
Shinron say the larger sutra is the reason that
Yeah.
Shakyamuni
Yeah.
came into the world, right?
Exactly. From those auspicious signs rather than,
Yeah,
okay, but
quite an
compare
interesting.
looking at, yeah. Anyway, yeah. We'll do that. We'll do that next time. Yeah, I figured we just finish the
Yeah,
preface
this is
and
great.
this discussion. Not try to tackle that except in, because that's going to take, I think, that's going to take at least a few sessions, I think, to maybe
Probably,
get there,
yeah.
possibly to get there. But
All
anyway,
right.
yeah.
Shall we say some nimbutsu
Yes, please.
to
Yes, definitely,
close?
definitely.
All
Let me
right.
grab my.
I don't have my ninju
All
because
right.
I forgot and I put it in my packages that are coming on the ship over here, so it won't arrive for another month or two. All right,
Well,
gasho.
no worries.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Mirabutsu.
Namo Amida
Nama
Butsu.
Mirabutsu.
Namo Amida
Nama
Butsu.
Mirabutsu.
Namanda. Namanda.
Nama.
Naman.
Nama. Nama.
Namanda.
Nama. Nama.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
have a wonderful day. I think it's
And
early
you?
morning for you,
It's
and
no,
it's
it's
also morning over here.
no, it's evening for me.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
We've switched. Yeah.
That's why you said even song.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
even song.
thinking,
Yeah, even song.
oh,
My wife
but
was
isn't it
attending
in the
even
morning? So I
song.
was
Yeah,
thinking,
my wife is
wouldn't
Anglican.
it
Yeah.
be matins? But then no, for you it's even song.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, she was attending
Uh,
evensong, but yeah, that's even, as an evening.
right.
Yeah, but anyway,
Evening. Yeah.
yeah. So really
All
good to
right.
see you.
Okay.
Really good
Yeah, good to
discussion,
see you too. Good to
and
talk. I think
look forward to the
I don't
next
know if
one.
I will be available next Sunday, but let's keep in
Okay.
touch on Messenger and we can
Yeah,
schedule the
yeah.
next.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
All right. Take
Okay.
care.
Take
No
care.
more me to Butsu.
Namo
Bye
Amida
now.
Butsu.
Bye
Bye.
bye.